TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What about Rick and Scott?
I liked them from the get-go. They were just always fun. You know, they were always joking around. They were good-natured. Rick more so than Scott. Scott was always very quiet. Rick was very good-natured and laughing and joking and ribbing people. And I always got along with Rick especially.
Missy?
I didn't early on. I didn't really communicate much with her at all. Later on, I didn't really think too much of her. We didn't.
You think she had a spot for the business?
No.
Brian Pillman?
And again, you know, we're transitioning from when I first got
Yeah,
there.
this is when you first got there.
When I first got there, when I first got to WCW, I really had no real interaction with Brian Pillman at all.
What about Gordon Solie?
Very little interaction with Gordon. Gordon was kind of like me. They would fly him in, you know, from, I think he was living in Memphis at the time, or Nashville. I think it was Memphis. They would fly him in, or wherever he was living. They would fly him in. He would do the shows that he did, and he would do the specific versions of the syndicated show that were his. And I'd see him and talk to him, and he was a great guy. He was very friendly, supportive. Okay. Had a couple cocktails with him a few nights. There used to be a bar in the CNN Center. It was like the Ye Old English Pub, or I don't remember what it was called anymore, but it looked like an old English pub. And he and I would sit there, and he would tell me war stories over scotch, and it was kind of fun.
Did you learn anything from Gordon?
I can't say honestly that I learned anything from him because I wasn't given an opportunity to work with him directly. But I certainly heard a lot about the business from his point of view that left an impression on me.
What led to Roddy Piper coming in Halloween Havoc? What are your memories of working with Roddy?
I miss Roddy a ton. And again, I don't remember all the backstory and why we brought him in and what the plans were and who suggested it or any of those things. Actually, I do now. I do remember who suggested it. But
would it have been Hawk?
Huh?
Would it have been Hawk?
No, it was a mutual friend of Roddy's and mine at that time.
Okay.
That worked out in Los Angeles, who was just friends with Roddy. But Roddy was a blast. He's just crazy. You know, he's fun.
As 1997 hit, you had Piper, Hogan, Nash, Hall, Savage, Flair, Sting, Luger, and a lot of other guys under one roof. How do you keep all of those strong personalities happy and still get what you need out of them as a promoter at the same time?
And usually didn't. I mean, very rarely were they all happy, and very rarely were we able to get what we needed out of each and every one of them every week. It got to be that was probably one of the reasons why people thought I was arrogant and I had changed, because, literally I'd get home and want to go out and beat my head on a hard, sharp object, for an hour just to make the pain go away. It was tough.
Who were some of the talents that were really vocal and, would
It
always
wasn't that anybody was vocal, it wasn't any of them were forceful necessarily at any given time, but they each had their points of view. And, sometimes they were almost all of them could be right in certain ways. So, you're dealing with strong personalities with long track records of success, and it's not a fun place. Sometimes.
TitleMatchNetwork.com.